Hi guys, Figure-Boi here, back with another video, and today I'm going to be discussing The Lord of the Rings. So recently I got round to watching the last two films in the trilogy after watching the first one in the first half of 2020 when we first went into lockdown. I think it was the first half of 2020, but I had seen it before, at least the first half of it, maybe, like back in, God knows how long I've had this box set, because I think I got this around the same time the Hobbit movies had started coming out, because I think I watched the Hobbit first, and I think that's where, as in the first one, I've seen the first and second Hobbit. I haven't seen the third one yet. I was hoping to be able to watch the third one maybe and then go backwards rather than attempt to watch the first two, because they're already fresh on my mind anyway. So it's almost like, what difference does it make? I don't understand the lore anyway, so what difference is it going to make if I don't rewatch them? Because the second one is always on repeat, so I know where that ends. Anyway, let's just focus on The Lord of the Rings for now, because I hear that the Hobbit trilogy is not supposed to be as good as the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, which is only to be expected. Anyway, I don't know if... I keep wanting to call him Percy Jackson. Peter Jackson. I'm guessing... I don't know. I mean, and I can understand wanting to go full circle with it, because you've made a live action Lord of the Rings, why not make a live action Hobbit as well? Do it as a prequel, whatever. But it's almost like, it is just one book that's not even super long. And I get it, they dragged it out over 3 films and a lot of filler and all that. So the other point I was going to make, what was it? I don't know if what I just said was a point. I don't know. Don't mark me on it. No. My other thing was his reasoning. Maybe what I said was a point. I'm not very bright today. Right. But the real point I was going to make, I wasn't sure whether he made them thinking about the Star Wars prequels. So it's almost like, was the Hobbit trilogy supposed to be like the Lord of the Rings equivalent of the Star Wars prequels? And in a way you could say, yeah, because they're not received as well, except that I think Star Wars is more enjoyable, even if it's bad. Prequel trilogy wise, not sequel trilogy wise. But I suppose there's a difference in something being, actually. I think there's a difference between bad and boring, because something can be badly acted and whatnot, like terrible dialogue and all that, but still be entertaining in some sense. And the opposite to that is almost boring, which it drags and the characters just aren't that interesting at all, even if the dialogue is slightly better than the latter, whatever. Anyway, like I said, let's just focus on The Lord of the Rings. Let's start with the first one, because I often say that the first one is my favourite. So, I imagine a lot of Lord of the Rings fans have the extended versions. I think I was going to do the same for The Hobbit, but in the end I was like, I don't care. I'll just get the standard releases, and it's probably for the best if it's true. But it just... Well, again, I've seen the first two, so I can make my own opinion. I mean, I like the first one. That was almost my gateway into this. And then... the second one I didn't understand as much. There's some bits of it I liked. Anyway, so all the box sets, kind of the same layout. So you have 4 discs and these booklets. I don't know what the symbols are supposed to be, nor do I really care, but it's just the scene, and I'm guessing it's almost like, are they supposed to be, oh, no, doesn't mean anything to me. And I have these things at the back, which I just shove here, a bit like on back of the Simpsons box sets. They had these things, I slip them in here because they just, right. So from what I remember about the first one, because I'm guessing you all know about the plot of The Lord of the Rings, I might as well offer my thoughts on maybe the characters rather than the plot. Because one of the things about Lord of the Rings I can appreciate is this whole idea of this one item or object can drive someone insane, and like with the whole golem thing. I can't even close it. How do I close this flipping thing? There you go. Right. So I don't want to skip ahead because I know that they focus more on Gollum later on. But anyway, thinking about Frodo. Actually, let me start because so Gandalf is probably one of my favourite characters. But if I'm going, but that's almost like the obvious choice, most kind of generic kind of choice, just because he's stands out and he's turned into a bit of a meme in some cases. But my other favourite character is Sam, but like the one I could most relate to. But I kind of find it from what I remember about the film, it's quite clever how it, like, you know, he's almost kind of dragged into it by Gandalf, you know, like the whole ear wigging thing. I mean, that's pretty funny. But he ends up being one of the most important parts of the whole journey, like, ironically. But Frodo, I kind of hit and miss about him. Like, really, like, I'm not sure whether I really liked him that much. Like, because, like, most of the time, the whole ring and whatnot, always, like, when he had it on him, and, like, and then that, you know, that moment which, he was stabbed, but obviously he was wearing this special, like, vest. Like, throughout the films, he's always, like, moaning or groaning, like, weakly, like, oh, it sounds like he's orgasming or something. Like, moaning all the time, and I know it's almost the ring and how it's weakening him and draining life force out of him, but it's almost like, isn't there like a difference between actual groaning in pain and not sounding as though you're being gratified? I mean, I know that the ring obviously gratifies them because they can't keep their hands off it and all that, but you know, especially in Gollum's case, yeah. So forgive me if I'm misinterpreting the whole thing. But yeah, so let's see what else I can remember about the Fellowship of the Ring. Now, let's think about the other characters and my opinions on the other characters. So Gimli, so obviously he's like the comic relief, isn't he? The whole dwarf thing. He was funny for the most part. I can't stop thinking about the Lord of the Rings page, where each video ends with him laughing, but I think that's from a later film, that is. Legolas, Link before Link, Orlando Bloom, you know, he didn't actually stand out as much to me. Obviously, he stands out as an elf character, but like, I don't really know what really to say about him other than that. Like, he's the guy that shoots the arrows and has all the banter with Gimli. Let's think about let's focus on the male characters first, because if I go on to the female characters, I'll just be on a 10-minute tangent. Right, who's next? Strider, isn't it? Or was it Strider? Is it right? Strider. There you go. Otherwise known as I was about to call him Agravain. Oh, what is his name? It should come to me. Right, what was it? Frick. What was his name? Oh my god, I'm going on a tangent now. I know it's something beginning with A. Aragorn. There you go, Aragorn. Yeah. Right. He's just... can't remember. I suppose, you know, when we first introduced to him, he was very mysterious fellow. I mean, from what I remember, he came across as quite threatening to me. at first. You know, he kind of very intimidating, but as it progresses, it doesn't seem that bad, to be honest. But yeah, I haven't seen the Fellowship of the Ring in a long time. Oh yes, and I think we'll go on to the next. Yeah, you haven't seen it in a long time. You can't remember most of it. You call it your favourite. Yeah, but the fact is, I have the memory of actually having a pretty good time watching it. So something must be good about it. And obviously, I don't remember a lot of it. It's just because I feel like when I record these videos, I'm on the spot. Right, so who else have we got? Arwen, isn't it? Because she's like the love interest of Aragorn. Like that whole story, like across the film, what? I don't understand. Is it just supposed to be some kind of love story? Now she loves him so much that she's prepared to give up like her eternal life for him or whatnot. Is that the whole point there? I was expecting more. I can't. That's all I can remember about it. Right, and who else have we got? Galadriel, who has the visions and all that. And I try to watch lore videos and stuff about Lord of the Rings, but I just can't. I get, no offense, but I get bored after so many minutes. I'm more interested in the main story about a bunch of people like bounding together to destroy this one object, which will obviously cause the destruction of the world under Sauron and whatnot. That's the only thing I care about. Right, what else? Let's think. Because if it's not part of the main story, I don't care. Right. So Galadriel. So it's very love Kate Blanchett, but I'm also thinking of like her character. So she comes across as quite wise, but I think there's a sinister aspect to her because I think wasn't there a part where she turns into some kind of weird ring wraith looking thing, like some kind of demon thing. I know I saw a pop vinyl figure of it. I can't remember what one it was in. I think it was the first film. So there you go. That's what I've got to say about the Fellowship of the Ring. Frodo is a whiny little bitch. Carrying on with the Two Towers. This film kind of dragged for me. It didn't feel so. I mean, obviously there was like a lot of action in it, like in some places. Because I know what you're on about. You got the Battle of Helm's Deep, which was obviously probably one of the best bits. I remember the whole part. You know, the whole time I was watching it, it was almost like I'm hoping they don't breach the castle and kill everyone. I'm hoping the goodies win. Of course, I knew the goodies were going to win, and then obviously the elves showed up, and then Gandalf, and it's obviously everything. You know you're going to win when Gandalf shows up. Oh yeah, talking about the opening of the film where it carries on from "You shall not pass." I like that bit where I could do a bit that "You shall not pass." I can't do it. Someone can do it better than me, but I liked how it rather than carry on where the first film left off. It almost obviously it does carry on, but not from that specific part, as in not from the specific ending of the first film. It carries on from the bit where Frodo last sees Gandalf and he's fighting the Balrog, whatever, and it's almost like, so it's not like he just, obviously he fell a large height and all that, he probably died in the process, but it's not like he just fell and died. It's almost like he was still battling the creature. So I thought that was cool, made him look really cool, especially a man of his age. I don't know how old Gandalf's supposed to be, but like most wizards in fantasy stuff, they're probably like thousands of years old or something. I don't know, or maybe not. I don't know, because like I said, I don't really follow the lore and all that. I bought like all the books and that last one beginning with S, but I only bought that to be a completist because it was in the same style of the book set. But my bookmark is still in that book, so maybe I'll carry on at some point. But there's some other things I want to read first. Anyway, some other bits we had like, oh yeah, one of the things about these extended cuts is that it feels like all over the place. Like, you know, because there's so many characters, it's almost like you go ages without there being any focus on like Frodo or whatnot, and it's almost like I forget the characters were even in it. Like it's almost like I got at one point it was like, oh, you're going back to Sam and Frodo again, and it's almost like no, this is Pippin and Merry again, and the whole Treebeard stuff and all that, which obviously I felt was. Like it's sort of like once it got to the fight, it was fine and all that, and then because I knew we were reaching some kind of climax, and then some of the great bits, Theoden King, when obviously Gandalf saves him from that spell. What else have we got? And then obviously the main bit of the film, one of the key parts, is obviously all the Gollum stuff. But the thing is, I've seen a lot of the clips of Gollum on YouTube and all that from when I was younger and all that, because he was one of the standout parts of one of the most iconic characters in the Lord of the Rings franchise and whatnot. I don't know what the universe is called. The Tolkien, the Tolkienverse or something. I don't know. But me. No, so yeah, I wasn't like. I couldn't say I was like as like enticed like with the whole Gollum scene, because like I've seen it all before, but it's almost like I was just seeing, right? I saw where it pieced in, and I felt like less, so maybe the Two Towers not my favourite, not exactly thrilled about that one. I expected that to be better, but whatever. But yeah, Battle of Hound's Deep, so one of the, like I said, like main highlight. Right, the Return of the King, the final one, and yeah, this is probably my second favourite, to be honest. I think it's because you're drawing to the end, so it's almost like so it's almost like, oh, it just didn't feel as though it was going to drag as much. Like when I was watching these films, I watched like one disc a day. I wasn't going to watch both discs on the same day, no matter how good they're supposed to be. In that case, I would say they're good. I found the films good, but not brilliant. I'm not like and then this is where I turn around and say, oh, I'm more of a Game of Thrones guy. Yeah, well, I mean, I think there's some truth to that. Like the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones are the best, but the second half, you look on it back at it now, not great. But I still found myself more enticed with Game of Thrones, and you'll probably say, oh, because it's all the titties and dragons and all that. But like, you got the it's just what else you got? Like I felt, I'll make that final point. I'll carry on with my final point after I actually discuss this film. So, other characters talk about Eowyn, the whole Witch King thing. That was like a badass moment at the end. I don't know what the battle is called. Battle of Meristene? I don't know the name of the place. If you can actually say the name of the place properly, well done to you. I'm just trying to think, like, what else, like, because there's a lot of stuff in the final film that I found to be quite dark. The whole, like, with the orcs, like, catapulting the heads over the walls, and then obviously you had the spider bit, like, which obviously, I mean, a lot of people are scared of spiders, so I'm guessing it'd be considered a very terrifying moment, especially when he's all wrapped in webs and all that. And Sam, obviously, is a good friend and wants to help Frodo get to Mount Doom and all that. Actually, yeah, some other comments, because the whole thing with Sauron and his eye, and not having guards outside Mount Doom, but then again, it makes sense, because why would anyone want to destroy the ring in the first place? That's a fair point. I didn't think of it like that. And wow, and then there was like, no, it just felt, in some ways it felt too easy, and then you think, what are you talking about? Like, you had to get past the orcs and all that. Yeah, but like, there was never. Well, obviously that's quite. Yeah, well, yeah, but in a way, it's almost like I would have thought they would have. I don't know. Had to go through it, like fighting a lot of them off. It feels they didn't. It feels as though they just got out of it without a scratch, really. And then you had the whole. I know, like there was that cool bit with Sam is running up the stairs to get Frodo back after the orcs capture him, after he's paralysed by the spider and all that. But yeah, there were a lot of times that they were at risk and all that. I'm not going to say they never were, but like some of it felt just too easy in my opinion. But whatever, it's just a film. It's not real. What else? Let's see. Yeah, no, the final bit, like with Frodo, and it's almost like destroy it. It's almost like, I suppose, the thing is, I know that the ring is supposed to promise whoever has it power. Love the opening to the first Lord of the Rings, by the way, the whole prologue, awesome. Anyway, carrying on, oh yeah, and the theme. They're just Lord of the Rings, like just make me think of the Pride and Prejudice opening titles now. Carrying on. No, it's almost like I'm just thinking like what I know the ring promises him power, but it's almost like what define power. Like he can have anything he wants. I'm guessing, like, because it's almost like this world domination doesn't seem like a nice cup of tea. Too much responsibility, Right. Is there any final comments? No. Like, because obviously Garland has this moment. It's trying like sizzle. It's almost like he just fell into hot soup. He didn't seem to be screaming in agony after falling into the lava. It seems he was more concerned about the ring. I suppose there's going to be kids watching it, so they couldn't have him go, "I'm melting," like the witch from Wizard of Oz or something. But yeah, and it obviously very sad ending. But I wasn't that sad. I was almost like, okay, so he's going to go live off quietly because he's got like all this post-traumatic stress disorder and all that. And then it was sad seeing Bilbo like really old and actually still thinking about the rings. It's almost like, and that's I was thinking, flipping out, the ring is so bad. Like if it's almost like to have that much influence and that be the only thing that a person ever thinks about. I mean, I suppose it's quite a convenient device if you can turn it invisible. I can use it for many things. But yeah, but not if someone else knows that you're using it. In that case, the invisibility cloak from Harry Potter will be a much more convenient device for turning invisible. Now, to close this video off, because I might make this last for an extra 2 minutes, and show off the inside of the other box sets. So it's just plain on the back. No, so it's nice artwork on these discs and the box sets themselves. A lot of positive role models in this film, I guess. Best role model. Let's think. Who'd be the best role model? Sort of thing, because I've already said Gandalf. I want to see if I can mention some other character. Tom Bombadil. Oh wait, he's not in the film. Never mind. Right. Any last reflections? No, I'm just thinking about like the Lord of the Rings Lego game that I had. I still have. Never completed it. Just thinking like about Elrond, just to get that Lego Elrond figure and all those other Lego Hobbit and Lord of the Rings sets, like for Gandalf and Gollum, all that. Flipping out. How long has it been? It's all such a long time. Anyway, I'm gonna rate the whole trilogy an 8 out of 10. Why not? Because it's mostly good. I think if I were to watch it again with someone that actually understands and appreciates Lord of the Rings, maybe it might help fill in some of the gaps of my misunderstandings. But yeah, I prefer A Song of Ice and Fire novel-wise. And you say, well, you haven't even completed the books. How can you say that? Well, I've read all the Song of Ice and Fire books that are out so far, and but the font on the Lord of the Rings book is too small, and he seems to be going on too much about fake history to keep me intrigued the whole time. But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy, and check out the next one.